to hear from. Create Your Future. Today we have Ani joining us. Hi, Ani.
Hi, guys.
So we have a really exciting video. We're going to talk about some tips on how to manifest something now. So these are some pitfalls that we may fall into that it doesn't wreck our mental diet or, the work we've put in, but it definitely will stall it in the moment. So yeah, we were just chatting about that before we started recording. So what are some of those tips that you have for us, Ani?
Yes. I've noticed a lot of people compare uh, their manifestation journey to other, YouTube videos. Maybe they see, um, they say, they got they got their manifestations 2 days into it, 1 week into it, or 2 weeks into it. Why is my manifestation taking longer? Um, to answer that question, it all depends on your discipline, on your mental diet, on how many times you're doing affirmations throughout your day. Are you doing it once? Are you doing it just every time you feel like it? Or are you consistently, setting up your day where, no, these are the intentions I'm going to affirm all day, every day, so it hardens into fact and I see evidence of it. So, my advice to those people that are paying attention to other people's manifestation journey, i wouldn't even I wouldn't even give it attention. I wouldn't compare and contrast. You're putting yourself up, like you're setting yourself up for um viewing the lack of things rather than, being in the present moment, affirming that you have it now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what? That's so important. It's to compare yourself to where you were yesterday, not to where you aren't yet. And never compare yourself to others. I mean, sure, manifestations can happen instantly, but then, some of them we're working on them for a long time. I mean, I know, for instance, my relationship, I've been working on it for quite some time now, a few years to get it to where it is now. Same with my business, same with a lot of areas in my life, right? So, do things change instantly? Can they? Absolutely. If you want them to start intending that, you have to keep focused on that. But I mean, yeah, looking at the lack and, beating yourself up or questioning why, comparing yourself to others isn't focusing on what you want. It's only looking at the lack and resisting your current reality, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when I first started, um, I would get really like rebellious. I would get lazy and be like, no, I don't have to do my intentions every time I think of it. Maybe I could just not put in the work and get the manifestation. But that's wrong, because if you really want something, you do have opposing thoughts regarding that one thing. And if especially if you really really want it, then there's way more opposing feelings and thought towards it. So you have to go in with more work. Like imagine if you're dealing with a scale, and the heavier side of it is the undesired result. So you have to make this desired result heavier. It has to outweigh it. So you have to go in with more work and more intentions and affirmations and time and effort for this to like outweigh and disappear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is it, right? I mean, for every negative thought, I put at least three positive ones on top of it. So incredibly important. As well as, I like to create what I'm going to see, hear, and feel, And sure, you don't have to be that detailed with your manifestations, but when you've got a lot of resistance or a lot of negative story, then I suggest being a little bit more detailed so you cut down on the partial manifestations that you get because your brain's going to take the path of least resistance. So all of those limiting beliefs and all of those old previous beliefs, they've got to be dug up and addressed if you want to change them. So, you can go into the really general, this is how I want it to be, but you're really going to have to watch what shows up in your reality and start to change it. So, you take the time to sit down and to rewrite and to just, revisit all those little details and really dig up what's in there. And just by doing that, you're digging up everything, you're recreating it, and you're putting in that extra little bit that you need, like Ani said, to tip that scale down. And it's exciting because you're actually creating what you want in that moment as well. I mean, oh,
Yes.
right? Mhm.
It it gets a little tough. The what I want my clients to do, or what I tell my clients to try out, is I want you to view your world as feedback. when you get a phone call, listen to what that person's saying. If it's SP or if it's a family member, listen to what they're saying. When you're out and about and you're walking around or grocery shopping, what's happening around you? All of this is feedback. Never ever take anything someone says to you personally. They're only showing you assumptions you have of people, assumptions you have of life in general, of situations. Anytime SP says something to you that you don't prefer, do not take it personally. Don't react and give that moment life. Step back, view it as feedback. Okay, I didn't like this scenario here. I'm going to go back and do my intentions and change it.
Exactly. It's never personal. If we take it personal, we're just making another story that we're not good enough. And all we did was project it on the person with our assumptions to begin with. So once we change those, then, we actually change the situation. I think the other one we were talking about was forcing yourself to feel good. I think that's a big question that people have. No, you don't need to feel good to create. I've created many things in tears, but you do need to feel good about the situation that you are manifesting. Okay. So, I remember one day, I've told this story before. I came back from the doctor and I had a prescription and I was a little bit upset by it. So I was we have a driveway and it's like, it's like this, like I'm telling you, you've leaned back, you're falling down the driveway. So I didn't want to walk all the way back up to the driveway to my car to get this prescription. And I was crying because I was upset. And so then I thought to myself, I'm like, I wish Andrew would go get it as I'm putting on my shoes. And he was actually in the bedroom getting ready for work. And he yells to the door. I didn't say anything to him. He yells to the door. He's like, I'm going to work. He's like, I'll run up and grab your prescription for you. And here's me in tears. I'm like, okay. So I take my shoes off, right? Go grab my blankie and sit on the couch. So I wasn't crying over going up to get the prescription. Like, that's not what I was upset about. So that's why my thoughts were still creating when it came to, because there was no resistance to him. If I was crying about him not wanting to go up the driveway to get the prescription, then that would have blocked him. So, I mean, generally, no, you don't need to be in a good mood, but you do want to have that feeling of faith, right? That is the feeling, the faith and the belief that your thoughts do create, because that's going to cut down on the mental fight in here. But you can be totally crying over, something that happened with somebody else and still manifest and recreate another person over there. But you can't be upset at the person that you want to recreate, or else you'll create whatever you're mad at, right?
Yeah. And the work that it takes, like the intentions, the mental diet, all of this that you need to be doing consistently, you will hear your intention or affirmation and you will think to yourself, well, I don't have this now. Like, what am I doing? Like, I feel delusional. Do I have to be in the God state? Do I have to feel positive all day? Do I have to, tap into this like parallel reality where everything's fine and dandy? No, you don't. But you do have to remind yourself that my focus and my intentions and affirmations, if persisted, will harden into fact. I will be able to one day see it, feel it, taste it, touch it. It will show up.
Right. And that's just it. And I'm just totally right. Is if you keep saying something, you create that feeling within you. So, if you say, look at Jerry loves being around me, how are you going to feel upset about Jerry in that moment? Because your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions are a manifestation of your conscious thoughts. So just by doing your intentions, you're automatically creating that good feeling in that area. So here's a really quick way. If you're not watching your thoughts, check in with how you're feeling when you think about a particular subject, right? If you're feeling anxiety about, your specific person, then we need to get back on that mental diet. That's a big red flag that our thoughts aren't where they should be, because, if you were already had what you wanted, would you feel anxiety? Well, the answer is no, I wouldn't feel anxiety if I was married to Jerry. Well, then we need to get on our thoughts now, because thinking about him and having anxiety is definitely not coming from the end of being in a happy relationship. It's definitely coming from the end of rejection, right?
True, very true. And I do get a lot of questions too where I'm asked, well, do I have to do sats before I go to bed while I do intentions throughout the day, or I'm on top of my mental diet? To be honest, you don't have to do sats, because writing out your intentions or keeping on top of your mental diet, every time you think that thought, you're creating a visualization already. That's like you said, it feels good already. So if you write down, like, let's say, for example, you write down, I just bit into a juicy apple. That picture shows up in your brain, like biting into a juicy apple, hearing the crunch, right? Same thing with intention. My SP, I feel so great and happy that my SP called me. Boom. Automatic feel good statement.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's just exactly it. You can do SATs if you want. Okay, there's no problem with not. So that state akin to sleep. It's a Neville technique. However, if you do SATs, you still have to do a mental diet. You can undo that 20 minutes that you're doing SATs, definitely. You know, your subconscious mind can't get anything programmed in it that you can't change. Okay. So but that's a good thing because I mean, just imagine that, oh, if you did this one thing, you program something in your mind and you can't change it. How scary would that be? Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. So your
Yeah.
subconscious mind is only a servant of your conscious thoughts. So you do SATs 20 minutes a night and you don't do a mental diet, it's probably not going to work. You need to do a mental diet and reaffirm what you want. Now, SATs, you can add any other technique in there, but you got to stay on top of your thoughts on a minute by minute basis. And actually, that's all you really need to do. That's all I do. I mean, I really don't do much other than maybe, you know, a little bit of writing now and again. You know, if it's a day or throwing some intentions on cards, right? That, you know, stuff like that. But other than that, it's really just, you know, intentions as I flow through my day, mostly in the shower.
Yeah.
I know 80%, even 99% of you guys do intentions in the shower. Right? He's gonna call me today, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When I remember when I first started, guys, like I used to have so much anxiety, and I know a lot of people can relate. You do get a lot of anxious thoughts. Sometimes you even get into panic because those thoughts spiral into, like, you just feel uncontrollable at that point. You just feel like a victim. Like there's no hope anymore. What helped me personally is I would not allow any thought to enter my brain that did not match my desired result. I would literally take all the time I had in my day, I mean in between like all the other important things I had to do, every time I had time, sit down, write intentions, just purposely, consciously not allow myself to go there, because I knew if I went there, it's so much harder for me to get out of it.
Mm,
So just
yeah.
prevent yourself from getting there.
Exactly. Exactly. So other ways you can do that is remembering when you've manifested other things, manifesting that little tiny list of manifestations, like that really helps, you know, to have those little moments of everyone as you pushed out moments that are just absolutely amazing that remind you that you create all of this, you know. And I have to say that's probably been the one most important thing in my life to build my belief in my faith. And, you know, I think that is can never be stated enough that having faith and belief that your thoughts create will really cut down, you know, the ping pong, the, you know, the little mental fighting match in here when you go and create an intention is you'll lessen that, you know, actual next reverse negative thought. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he wants to be with me. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Right. So, you know, it'll be, yes, he wants to be with me. Well, maybe no, everyone's being pushed out. I know this. He wants to be with me. End of story. Like, then your brain's silent. Right. So you'll win that fight a lot more often and a lot easier to the point where you won't even question your intentions anymore. And it is possible to get to that state.
Yes, it
I
is.
don't question my intentions anymore. Like there's just no, you know, and it just takes a moment of everyone's being pushed out. What are you doing? Right.
I think we should talk about maintaining it too, Amanda.
Oh, yeah. Right. Totally missed that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting your manifestation. For some people, they get their manifestation instantly, which is great. Some people, it takes some time. But what happens after you get your manifestation matters, you guys. What you do after your manifestation or during it, it's very important. If you want to maintain that feeling and that new version of whatever it is that you want, you have to keep going. Still persist with your affirmations. Let's say you got your SP to reach out. Now you guys are talking, you're in communication. You now, what's the next step? What do you desire with SP? Is it moving in together? Is it going out on dates 3-4 times a week? marriage, you got to continue, because level 1 is accomplished. It's like a video game. Level 1 is accomplished. Now you're on to level 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. You've got to maintain it, you know, and you have to do your intention from the moment you want something till, I mean, as long as you want it, right? So, of course, granted, Ray, we said this many times, you don't have to say your intentions as much because, you know, once you've created it as a belief, it basically will stay in play until you start to undo it somehow with some thoughts. So, it only becomes a maintaining when you start to undo it and you have the day where, oh, maybe he doesn't want, no, I'm crazy. Of course he wants to be with me. And then you move on and you can free up, you know, your mind for other intentions. But yeah, you can't, as everyone knows, right? Like, you know, you can't stop, because if you stop altogether and you don't, you know, get on top of any negative doubts that may crop up, you can easily turn the situation around, because that's the thing, right? Is the universe is malleable to whatever you want, and you do it with your thoughts. So it's actually a good thing, right? So that you can change your mind and change and create whatever you want. But it's also a bad thing when we've got to put in the work to get what we want.
Yeah.
And keep and maintain it, right? You know, it's like, why doesn't it just automatically do it? But then it's like, well, wait a minute, you know, like, again, like, you know, do we want everything to be forever? Like, I know right now when you're having that struggle and it looks like a lot of work, you're like, oh, why can't I just do one intention and be here forever? But you know what, though? I mean, that sounds great right now, but like, let's think of the reality of that. Like, oh my goodness, like I say it once, it's here forever. I can't change my mind. Oh no. Right. So, you know, what I'm saying is enjoy doing the work and embrace it, because it is how we create, and it's how we recreate, and it's how we change things. Don't be scared of doing the work. You know, I know when I first learned how to do a mental diet, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't care. No, it's
Yeah.
got to be an easier way. But it's the only way, right? But when you really look at how it works, you're like, wow, this is really cool. And you enjoy the process, you know, rather. And if when you enjoy the process, it's going to be so much easier. So much easier, right? It's not work anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? I've heard so many stories of people getting their manifestation, and then maybe a month later or a few weeks later, they got like hot and cold behavior, and then boom, they're back to zero again, square one. Because remember, the reason why you're doing affirmations all the time and you're on top of you have to be on top of your mental diet 24/7, the reason is because your brain wants to run back to what was a habit. And the habit was believing you're not good enough. The habit was believing that that person will not commit to you. The habit was, I don't have communication, or I'm the last priority, or I'm not even a priority. That was the habit. And you held on to that habit of belief so long that the brain's like, nope, I want to go there. I don't care what we're doing now. I don't even care if you got evidence. I want to run back to what we used to do for a really long time. That's my comfort zone.
Right. Right, exactly. Because it's a habit, right? We're retraining our brain, we're rewiring it to the new way of thinking, to so much where, you know, you look back and you're like, I can't even believe I thought that. I can't even believe I did that. Once you hit that point, you know you've made the shift. You're like, that's crazy for me to even think that. I've got too much evidence otherwise, right? So, well, absolutely amazing. So many good tips in here, Ani.
Yes.
Amazing. So, guys, a quick little rundown. Don't compare yourself to others. You don't compare yourself to what you don't have. Compare yourself to where you used to be. You know, you don't need to be in a great mood to manifest, but you do have to have positive thoughts, or thoughts focusing on what you want in the area you want to manifest. And yeah, you know what? Maintain it. You got to keep the work up, but enjoy the work. Don't make it a chore. Don't dread it. Don't resist it, because the more you resist it, the more you're going to have to do it. So if you're like, wow, you know, I've got to do 100 intentions, yay! And next, you know, you do 10 and you get what you want, right? So, you know, it's not about, oh, why isn't it here yet? Why isn't it here yet? It's like, yay, you know what? This is great. I love doing this. And then before you know it, it'll show up. So, and guys, if you are looking for coaching, Ani is available. Link is in the description below. Guys, she books up really, really fast. So, you know, I'm going to say if there's no open spots, definitely email us. The email is in the description below as well. So thank you for being here, Ani.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.